Okay, accountability partners, David Halpern of Mastery Consulting. Want to talk to you about the all-important topic of critical drivers. So what's a critical driver, you ask? Well, a critical driver is something that's critical for driving your business. In other words, it's a metric. It's a measurement of some kind of activity or result that will yield a much better profit and loss statement, income statement, profitability, P&L, financial result. Okay? In other words, it's the stuff you measure on a daily or weekly or monthly basis. So, it's a little bit like the accountability questions you get on a daily basis. What do I measure? I get that question all the time. What do I measure? So let's do a little short version of what do I measure. Are you ready? If you're getting started and you're at entry level, or let's call ourselves a low to low middle tier producer, the types of things we really want to measure are the activities that derive the result. So let me give you 2 or 3 examples of what you might measure. By the way, before I give you those examples, let me elevate out to 20,000 foot view. It is really important that you limit the number of things you measure. Numerous studies have proven that the fewer items you measure, the better the improvement in results. I see a lot of people, especially coaches out there, that are teaching you to measure 10 or 20 or 30 items. Ridiculous. You and I can't even tackle 3 without getting completely overwhelmed, if you will, right? So it has to be a very few. The sweet spot, by the way, for measuring is 2 to 5 activities. So let me give you some examples now. If you're new or entry level, you might want to put something in there like number 1, did I do my morning routine? Because it is really important for someone starting a business to get the entrepreneurial mindset and armor on every day, if that makes sense. But perhaps most importantly, you want to measure the top of the sales funnel, which is getting leads and attending appointments. That's the key. So how do we do that? It could be as simple as how many contacts did I accumulate today to put into my database? And a contact is nothing more than name, phone, and email. Incidentally, I like to add to it the name of the company somebody works for. Okay, so that's how many contacts. I think I'm the only person I know that actually cares and measures every day how many new business cards I get. I work with so many people that don't seem to think it's important. It is the whole game. In the short term, no, but over time, it builds your database. It builds your database. And 3, 4 years later, you can do what we're doing, which is marketing to the database and not leaving the computer in order to generate new clients, right? Okay. Another item you should measure for sure is number of face-to-face appointments with potential new clients. There is nothing more important in any service-based business or professional's business. By the way, I don't care if you're a manufacturing business, it could be number of appointments, face-to-face. For some companies, it's by phone, but number of appointments. And I repeat, in my own coaching business, we spent 3 years, 3.5 years or so, focusing on literally nothing but how many face-to-face appointments did I attend with potential new clients? And that drove the business. Okay. That's for a kind of, if you will, entrepreneurial startups, lower producers. What about for intermediate or higher level producers? What else might you measure? Well, it would be appropriate for you to measure your pipeline, your sales pipeline. So you might have something like, if you're intermediate, you might not measure number of new leads captured every day because you're doing it as a habit. You might not even measure the number of contacts you're making every day because it's a habit, although I think that's kind of important. You definitely want to continue to measure the number of appointments face to face, but now you might want to measure the pipeline. And the pipeline is as follows. Are you ready? Hot prospects would be one category of measuring. Number of hot prospects. Number 2 would be number of transactions in process. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. And the last one is number of transactions closed. That's it. And that's classic sales funnel type measurement. Is there anything more to measure? Of course. As you become more advanced or intermediate and advanced, you want to do things like we do in our board of directors, which is we measure now the whole P&L, which is, profit and loss statement, income and expenses, et cetera. Okay, critical drivers, critical drive. By the way, should you measure anything else? And the answer is, of course, you can measure whatever you want. There is no one size fits all in business, right? When people ask me, what should I measure? I don't have the right answer for you. I can give you recommendations, but you need to find that which works for you and creates a rhythm. The most important thing with critical drivers is that it be continuously measured over the long haul. And by the way, that requires an accountability partner. Why? Because accountability is a dialogue, coaching is conversation, and you're not going to get good in measuring it if you don't have a ritual of check-ins, whether it's daily or weekly or monthly or all three with somebody else. Okay, my question for you today, folks, is based on what you just heard about the concept of critical drivers, what might you do differently or measure differently in your business?